Estás viendo Canal América, televisión dominicana para el mundo.
A Time for Truth show is sponsored by the Office of Dr. Bernard Fialkoff, a periodontal, dental implant and laser specialist in New York City, for over 40 years. Dr. Fialkoff was honored by the International College of Dentists and Pierre Fauchard, and received the Presidential Lifetime Humanitarian Honor from the White House. Call us at 718-229-3838.
Sometimes life can be so damn hard. You don't know where to go. Everything keeps falling apart. Yeah. You try to do your best, but only God knows that you've given everything you've got, but the world takes you down. You just keep moving on. Let your fears.
Welcome to A Time for Truth show. I'm your host, Dr. Bernard Fialkoff, and it's a pleasure to be back with you again. Pre-Thanksgiving. And we have a very show that's so appropriate for tonight. Because what was Thanksgiving but one getting along with the other, sharing good times, sharing good food, and it's going down in history as a holiday all over the world. In Spanish, as the Dia de Gracias, the Dar Gracias, giving thanks. And tonight's show is such a show. Well, we give thanks and we give an acknowledgement to someone who's been working on something very diligently that I'm going to keep a little mystery to you, but let's introduce him to you by telling you a little bit about him. An engineer, if you put his pictures up on the screen, we'll talk about Mr. Frank Arlia, who is the CEO and founder of Harvest Harmonics. Frank has an extensive history as a business professional with over 34 years as an entrepreneur, business owner, engineer, strategic visionary, building and managing many, many businesses over those years. His expert forensic CPA acumen has empowered him to successfully defend 98 of his clients against the IRS. Utilizing this philosophy he has of going forward, positive and winning and giving out the truth, he provides something that's groundbreaking. I don't know how else to put it into words. A non-toxic, chemical-free new technology providing real solutions to the problems of climate change, food safety, and improved healthcare worldwide. And this will form the basis and the future of agriculture in the years to come. In a world that has been ravaged by COVID and the global uncertainty that came afterwards, Harvest Harmonics is an agricultural biophysical frequency approach that benefits farming globally. It increases photosynthesis, plant growth, yield, and nutritional levels. But Frank is the expert, and I'll let him tell you about that. An engineer, if you will, let's bring up Frank Arlia live on A Time for Truth show.
Good evening.
Welcome, Frank.
Good evening, Dr. Fialkoff. Thank you for having me on your show tonight. Much appreciated.
Yeah, the pleasure is ours. You've done so much. You're in the middle of something that's really going to change the world. But first, let's start out with you. So you, as a successful forensic certified public accountant, defending all those cases over the years. How is it that a CPA came into agriculture?
That was a culmination of I call it an act of God, and I call it a blessing, because my mother was terminally ill, basically in 2013, and I needed to find a solution while the rest of my family was making funeral arrangements, because the doctor said there's nothing they could do, and she had 3 to 5 months to live. So I found a solution for her in Italy. I brought it to Italy against all odds, and Fulvio Baumelli, the developer of this bioresonance technology, medical technology, had figured out a way to save her life. But he was doing this already with many people in Europe. And so what wound up happening was I learned about something that was not available in the United States, and it intrigued me, and I wanted to know more. And investigating more, my curiosity piqued his curiosity. And over the 30 days that I was in Italy, while he was saving my mother's life, we became friends. And then he introduced me to another technology that he asked me to bring to the world, or help him bring to the world, which was an agricultural technology. And I couldn't understand why was a medical doctor, a medical researcher, developing an agricultural technology. And he said to me something that I'll never forget. He said, I've been saving people's lives for many, many years. And I could go on for many more years. But I found out that the underlying problem of all these bodies that he's fixing is the chemicals in our food. And if we don't get rid of the chemicals in our food, then everyone's just going to keep getting sick and dying younger and younger. So he came up with a technology to get the chemicals out of our food and grow food naturally, organically, without any need of chemicals. And he asked me if I would bring it to the world, and I said, "Whoa, this is a whole change of my lifestyle. Like, I'm going to have to really change everything and go from accounting to agriculture, because I knew nothing about agriculture, and I was going to have to learn this industry if I was going to be working in it." And that's actually what I've done. I've done that for the last 10 years, and now I'm being called an expert in agriculture. So that's the story, how I got involved.
Story.
And he did save my mother's life.
It's an amazing story, but it makes total sense, because things happen in life, and we're really on the same channels, even though there's apparent distances. We don't know people, then you meet them. So it makes total sense to me what happened. So I wanted to ask you, so we get right to it, how does your Harvest Harmonics product, developed by Folio, how does it help farmers grow with more yield using less chemicals?
Well, I'm gonna blow your mind now, because it's a very advanced technology. But do you remember this technology?
I'm ready to get my mind blown. Go ahead.
Well, this technology is an old age CD, right? And
that's right.
What we've done is we've taken this technology and just advanced it. And basically, this is the future technology, the future CD. And this technology gets inserted into a pipe that literally, just like you would insert into a computer system, or you insert it into a CD player, I'm going to show you. So this looks like an ordinary pipe.
Uh-huh.
except it has a compartment. You see that compartment right there?
Exactly.
So that compartment is where this disc goes inside. And this disc has over 3,000 programs of quantum physics directly related to plants. And it will get any plant to grow naturally, organically, without the need of chemicals, just by giving it information that will amplify the plant's processes of growing naturally. So you take this disc, you put it inside the pipe, close the cap, and then install it into your irrigation system. And all the water that goes through that pipe now gets programmed. It's quite fascinating, but we've been proving it all over the world with over 40 completed trials at different countries around the world, and with 10 publications already, 10 trials already publicated and then published, and one peer review trial. And we decided that it was time to move forward very quickly and get this information to every country in the world. So we started pushing to meet with governments. And as of last week, we're up to 51 governments that we're working with. So it's going very nicely. We're starting to move.
I would say 51 governments is going more than very nicely. It's going very well. You have been very humble, and this is an amazing solution that you have, because the world is suffering from so many nutritional maladies, hunger, famine, and what has been the response when you visited these governments? Because I know they've been inviting you. So what has been the response when you share with them this technology?
Most governments that I've spoken to, they know that the problem has been chemicals. They already know this, right? They just don't know how to get away from them. They don't know how. They've been so indoctrinated in growing with chemicals that they don't know that there's any other way to do it. So it's really been an education process. I find myself being an educator. That's really what it comes down to. Teaching them how, they can use this technology, but first getting them to see it for themselves. That's the first step with anything. It's one thing when somebody comes and tells you, hey, this car is going to fly, right? And it's another thing when you actually see a flying car, right? It's two different realities. Until you see a flying car, everybody can talk about flying cars, but they don't exist until you actually see a flying car. So in this case,
absolutely.
Right. So
absolutely.
we took the approach with the governments is like, look, I could tell you what I've done around the world, and I could show you what I've done around the world, and you could read all about it. But it means nothing to you and your people and your government and your research institute and your universities and your scientists. It means absolutely nothing until you take my technology and put it to work in your own country and see it with your own eyes. You need to see it with your own eyes. And that's
100%. 100%. 100%. I got to tell you, because I'm in Pennsylvania, and here last year, some of the farmers experienced sickness after they utilized the supposedly recycled fertilizer. And it was amazing how they were so upset with what was going on. And I told them about your product. So my question to you is, how does your crop booster, how does it work on crops? And what crops does it work on? Does it work certainly on certain crops, differently on others? Explain a little bit that to us.
So it works on any crop in the world. We've already tested it on 98 crops successfully. Okay? And right now, you only have to be a farmer that uses an irrigation system, because that's the way we deliver the technology, through the irrigation system. In the future, because we're already in the R&D phase, and we're almost done with R&D and going into testing, we will have a technology that works with rainwater, but that's not ready yet. Once that's ready, then every farmer in the world will have the technology available to them, because we're making it affordable for every single farmer. And the technology that's available now is affordable by every single farmer, but it's only available for irrigating farmers. That's farmers that use an irrigation system, and any type of irrigation system. And there's over 15 different types of irrigation systems, but any irrigation system will work with our technology. So it's available to any farmer.
Well, I would think this would be very important because you've got very arid areas, desert areas throughout the world. Many countries really not lucky enough to have a lot of rainfall. And when we don't have rainfall, the other thing is that the crops don't grow. So we get, seasons where we don't get adequate rainfall. It would be actually good for those farmers to have irrigation systems. And with your increased yield and more production, I would think there would be a the possibility of being able to go through dry periods with your technology. I mean, to me, that's totally amazing. I heard that recently Fulvio was awarded. Is that correct?
Yes, he was awarded the 2024 International Research Award, from the Indian Asia research. It's called ISRA, and basically he had two things that happened this year that were phenomenal. Number one, he received the 2024 Research Award, Top Researcher Award, and then he was also nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize.
My God.
He had a nomination because, I guess the Nobel Committee could see that this had the potential of bringing about world peace. Because if countries didn't have wars over territories, because they can cultivate their own territory with this technology, that would minimize the need for wars. I mean, I was basically saying over the last 2-3 years since this war started between Ukraine and Russia, that this war has a lot more to do, I believe, with agriculture and Russia wanting Ukraine as the breadbasket. It's a breadbasket country. Ukraine has some of the most fertile land in all of that entire area of the world, more fertile land than all of Europe. So it's an interesting idea of what's going on over there. It's not exactly what we see in the news. Let's just say that.
You know what? That makes total sense. Nothing is ever exactly what's in the news. And I wanted to say something to you, partly joking, partly to mark this occasion. But I think in history, something will be noted. And first, I want to start out by prefacing it by saying that every year, I'm a Jewish guy, every year in the Jewish religion in Passover, we're waiting for Elijah, to come and to, open the houses, bring peace, and bring tranquility to the earth. And here we are, Thanksgiving 2024, with this Italian guy, Frank Arlia, and Fulvio Valdelli. And here on Thanksgiving, I think that the Nobel Committee recognized that you are both bringing Thanksgiving globally very, very soon. And Elijah's going to be walking through that door with a breadbasket so we don't have to have any war. So I want to acknowledge you both on this show that you're changing history. What you're doing is so amazing with this. It's Harvest Harmonics. Is that right? What'd you call it?
Harvest Harmonics. Well, Harvest Harmonics is the name of my company, and I'm the international distributor for the technology on behalf of Fulvio Balmelli, the inventor. Fulvio Balmelli named the technology Kiminasi plants, right? So the word Kiminasi comes from the letters of his 4 children. He took the first 2 letters of his children's names and coined the word called Kiminasi. And it's Kiminasi plants technology, and it's really amazing stuff. Amazing.
Wow. How many countries do you currently have your technology operating in?
We have technology in 52 countries, and again, we're working with now 50 governments at the beginning stages where they're doing trials and they're starting to test out technology. But we have operations, whether it's sales operations or research operations with universities, going on in 52 countries around the world.
It's totally amazing. Nikola Tesla, in a similar vein, was working on global energy, and he wanted to find a path, and he actually did a lot of discovery with global energy to get energy out without wires. And it's very interesting with this technology that you're speaking about, because this creates obviously tremendous health benefits. And I don't know about you, Frank, but when I'm hungry, I'm a different guy. I know when my wife is hungry, and then we eat a good meal and we calm down. So I think there's something also to be said with what you're talking about, how it would decrease conflict, because in all honesty, I think that what you said is profound. And I think if mankind has a way of satiating their appetite and their hunger so they can survive, then it will create a totally different global environment. I think you and Fulvio are actually very humble visionaries. That's what I see. What do you feel about what I was saying to you?
You're on point, my friend. I appreciate what you're saying, and I agree with you that we're working in very unique environment. We're working in an area that is definitely in need of change, and it's a challenging endeavor. It's very challenging, but because this technology has proven itself time and time again, it's becoming more and more a reality, because more and more people are starting to see, the possibility of a chemical-free food environment where we can all eat and know that what we're eating is actually healthy for us, and will help us stay healthy. And I want to say something in regards to what you were talking about regarding, when you're hungry, right? It's one thing to eat, and when you're hungry and calms you down. But imagine when you're eating and you're eating healthy food that doesn't have any chemicals in it, that you don't have to worry about, gaining weight. You don't have to worry about, getting sick. You don't have to worry about the potential chemical imbalance in your mind that's going to make you crazy, because you have no idea how much pesticide, or herbicides, or fertilizer, chemical fertilizer that you're ingesting. We see all these kids running around with all kinds of, traumatic problems, and the majority of these problems, almost all of them, are coming from the food. It's really, people don't want to believe that, and people can't believe that. But I'm very hopeful that people are going to start waking up and seeing that this is a reality. And we've already explained that, getting the chemicals out of our food is the one thing that's going to make the country healthy again. And that's important.
Absolutely, Frank. Let me interject something into your talk tonight. It's actually scientific truth. All illnesses, are basically from some sort of inflammation and inflammatory processes. All illnesses are due to inflammation of a severe process. And what you're saying is very true, because a lot of people go on these wild diets, and you're so on point, because if they were eating food that wasn't causing inflammation, they wouldn't get bloated, they wouldn't get irritable bowel syndrome, which is a tremendous problem in the United States of America, IBS, all these things that you're mentioning. And, it's so important what you're developing here. We're getting near the end of the show, so I want to make sure we cover everything. Let's say you're a homeowner or you have a greenhouse and you just want to get your product. Is your product available for homeowners, for people who have a small greenhouse? How do they get it from you?
Well, the product is available. I mean, you can just go to Harvest Harmonics, .com, and you can order the product. You can call our office at 727-324-6750. There's many ways that you can order it. We actually have, you can email at service@harvestharmonics.com and tell us, give us some information about what you need, and we can send it to you. But one of the things that I wanted to point out, Ben, that's really important to me is if your listeners, could actually, I was nominated, I didn't do it myself, but somebody nominated me to be an advisor in this new administration to the Secretary of Agriculture, which would be under the Department of Health. And so I was interested in that position, because I know I can help this next administration make America healthy again, and that is one of my goals. Because I think no matter what side of the voting fence you're on, it doesn't make a difference. We all want to eat healthy. We all want to live healthier lives, and I think that's important. So, if your listeners, could consider voting for me to help bring, this technology to America to make it healthy again at a big level. I went as far as offering RFK $10 million of technology to help make America healthy again. That's how important it is for me that we make our country healthy again, And I really like what's going on, and I do believe that is a motto that everybody can get behind to make America healthy again. So it's something
what? For the viewers watching this show, let's have Frank Arlia bring health to our kids, to our communities. It's Thanksgiving. What better gift can we have than to have a really good, healthy Thanksgiving from here on out, and to actually take the Harvest Harmonics, the Humanitarian technology, have great food that's nutritious, that grows well all across the globe. And you know what? America is a symbol of freedom. What better way to make America great than America, as a symbol of freedom, leads the way and helps all the other countries of the world, so that we have a globe, an entire globe without war. What do you think of that, Frank Arlia?
I love that idea. That peace and health across the world this Thanksgiving would be a blessing for everyone. So I love the fact that we're moving in that direction, and I love the fact that people should get behind that, and I'm sure everybody would want the same thing. So I love it.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, we reached the end of the show. For those of you watching, if you're tuned in late, go back to the beginning of the show when it airs. Watch the whole thing. This Thanksgiving is a new Thanksgiving for the world. We're going to bring some really good holidays in the future, some health. Our kids will grow up healthy, happy, and we'll have the world we've always dreamed of. So thanks, Arlia. Thanks for being on the show tonight.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, Dr. Fialkoff. Great pleasure.
And I want to say one thing at the end. You're a very religious guy, too. You visited with the Pope. You're bringing this technology everywhere. You're uniting people all across the globe. And in the Jewish religion, we say L'chaim, to life. Thanksgiving is coming in a few days. Thank you for watching this show. Let's get Frank Arlia into President Trump's committee, the Secretary of Agriculture. Let's make the world safe for all of us, make America great again. Have a very good night.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Frank. Have a great night. Be well. See you on the next episode of A Time for Truth show.
This show was sponsored by A Time for Truth Foundation Incorporated as a community service.
Sometimes life can be so damn hard. You don't know where to go. Everything keeps falling apart. Yeah. You try to do your best, but only God knows that you've given everything you've got, but the world takes you down. You just keep moving on. Let your feet